Hello everyone, I'm Marina Zerik, your real estate broker in Washington State, and today let's talk about some exclusionary practices that's been happening in some real estate firms, at least here in Washington State, and I think also wider in US. What's actually gonna happen with this? It's that NAR, or National Association of Realtors, approved some delay of publicly advertising some listings for sale. You can always talk to me and comment your opinions here. I will talk about also what's happening and my opinion on this matter. So stay with me to tell you more about it. So some real estate firms chose not to advertise publicly their listings, or the sellers may require them to keep them private or, let's say, in-house, so that only real estate brokers in certain firms have access to them, so that also the firm itself becomes a dual agent, or that means that let's say that firm or real estate broker that listed the property for sale is gonna be also selling or finding a buyer for that listed property. Also, that means that that property is not going to be advertised on wider social media platforms, or even on the realtor.com or Zillow and websites like those. Not even some firms not even sharing them on their MLSs, which is, when we look at the specifically in Washington State Northwest MLS, our rules and regulations prohibit, even coming soon, advertising, not to mention that members are not to advertise listings without first let them input into the matrix or a Northwest MLS system. So let's say specifically in the Northwest MLS rules, I will just read it to you, that Northwest MLS rules are against those pocket listings, how it state, which are listings that are not entered into the MLS system. And once a listing agreement is signed with the brokers and sellers, it is required to be entered into the Northwest MLS system within a specified time frame. Now, what's the issues with the private listings? Private listings are limiting exposure to potential buyers. So some sellers like that exclusivity. For example, I can imagine some, let's say, celebrity or mansions that are really off the limits for many potential buyers. Can actually want that and would benefit it from, let's say, word of mouth, and like telling the brokers, hey, can you find me a buyer without too much noise? I don't want lots of potential buyers who are not qualified to look at my property, but actually that's deceiving. So why some firms believe that these private listings are better? So they believe that keeping the listings off the market create some sense of exclusivity, and they believe that that could potentially drive up the prices and benefit their sellers. Those firms may want to have greater control over the listings, and they want to probably pick up the both commissions that go to listing side and selling side. So let's see about the cons about the hiding the listings. So for the sellers and buyers, this is not so good scenario, because sellers don't get the full exposure of their listings to all the potential buyers that are looking into the network of Northwest MLS listings, which are automatically uploaded to the websites like Redfin, Zillow, and Realtor, all others, let's say. And that could potentially sell for the lower price, not higher. It's also limiting transparency, because for the buyers, they may not be having access to all the potential properties that they may want to choose from. So there are also some sort of ethical concerns, which are seeing this practice as unfair and not transparent enough. Not to mention that this practice is in violation of MLS rules. And what Northwest MLS says to all of this? So Northwest MLS strongly believes that consumers have to have the access of all the listings that are available, and that sellers are entitled to full exposure of their listings to all the potential buyers on the market. Northwest MLS believes that open, fair, transparent, and comprehensive market benefits all of us, sellers, buyers, brokers. Despite this Northwest MLS rules and strong recommendations to have open and transparent marketplace, some rules within a National Association of Realtors were brought to light, and starting March 25th, it's already started, 2025, home sellers will have a new option when listing their property. So that means that sellers will have to decide if they want to. Of course, that's also still approval of their local MLSs, but still sellers will have some options to delay public exposure of the listings within certain time frame. Let's say I don't want anywhere between 5 and 14 days to my listing be publicly marketed to Zillow, Redfin, or whichever else website, but it should be entered into the MLSs. That's no option for now. So note that local MLSs have the right to implement or disregard this recommendation from NAR until September 30th, 2025. This update gives sellers more control over how and when their home enters the market, and that offers them greater flexibility and strategic options during the listing process. That's how this rule states, and why this matters. So potential benefits for sellers. So let's talk about this, which is controlled exposure. As I mentioned, this is ideal for sellers who don't want to be overwhelmed with people mingling in their house and requesting additional info and things like that. So curious neighbors, of course. It helps showings more manageable with preparing to go live on the public market at certain time. This will not limit the MLS exposure, so which means that the brokers who are working with the ready and prepared buyers are still gonna be someone who they will interact with, sellers. Then number 2 benefit would be qualified inquiries only, which means that by sharing the listing only with buyers agents in the MLSs, it's more likely that sellers will be dealing with those who are already qualified to purchase their home. Meaningful inquiries, right? Number 3 will be time and flexibility. So sellers and the listing agent gain more time to finalize preparations while offering the property exposure simultaneously. For a proper listing, the first day on the market is the most important, so photos and remarks should already be finalized. 4th benefit is market testing. So this option can serve as a way to quickly test the market and its response before launching a full public campaign. Lastly, for this to happen, disclosures must be made with sellers. Sellers, before listing the market, must be fully aware that they are withdrawing their listing for full exposure for a certain amount of time, and all the pros and drawbacks of that decision. Also, communication rules, one-on-one conversation, or let's say cooperation between brokers are permitted. So brokers can bring ready and willing and able buyer to the seller before it goes fully on the market. All in all, this change gives some options for sellers. We don't still know if that change is going to be in certain form permitted in Northwest MLS and here in Washington State. Stay tuned until September 30th, which is the deadline for MLSs to declare what they want. So if you have any more questions or you want to stay in the know, let me know in the comment below. I can put you on my newsletter list, so you will be all in the know by then. If not, keep tracking. I will filming another video when the new information emerges. So stay with me, subscribe, and I thank you for watching me today and be with me in the next video.